make it a better place. It'll take
Welcome to my video today, you guys. It is Tuesday and I'm doing something a little bit different. I usually share Project Life by Stampin' Up with you guys on Tuesday, but I am recovering from a crazy month in March. Some of you guys know my husband had surgery 3 times and was off work, and the kids were out of school for a week with spring break, and it has just been a crazy month. So I'm so glad that April is here. I took the day off yesterday and I thought I would dive back in today with you guys and share with you guys this kit that I got a couple weeks ago when it was on the weekly deals. I'm gonna open it up and share it with you, and I'm really wanting to be creative today, but I'm really struggling. And so sometimes when that happens to me, I just pull something out that I know is sort of already put together for me, and it lets me get ink out and stamps out, and then it helps that creativity to come back. So I'm using some stamp sets for just the sentiments. I've just pulled a few that have a variety of sentiments. You guys know that I probably won't stick to exactly the way the instructions say these cards should go together. There's that card, and then they have instructions here that show you how to put all the cards together. But you guys know that I just like to, kind of do my own thing. So this is the project kit, and it's the card of 10 of cards. And you get this super cute 10. I love this 10. Matches my room really well. And then you get all these supplies to create these cards. You get envelopes, and then you also get dividers. The idea is that you would put your cards in here and organize them so you can just pull them out and send them. I have too many cards that they won't fit in here, and I actually have done a card organization video. I'll put a card right up here and you guys can see that. So I'll use this 10 for something else in my craft room and it'll be totally fine. But I'm going to open all this up and I'm going to get started. So I want to say a very big thank you guys to all of you that placed orders with me. A couple of you joined my team. I met both of my goals. I had three goals for celebrations for January, February, and March. And you guys, I've met all of them, and I could not be more thankful to you guys. I was not sure it was going to happen with 2 of them, and it worked out, and I'm so grateful. So thank you guys so much for placing orders and just supporting me. I got many messages from you guys just saying you were thinking of me and praying or hoping or sending me good thoughts and good vibes to meet those goals. So thank you guys so much. So let's dive in. I'm going to open all this up and then I'll come back and we'll make some cards today. So we're going to dive right into these cards, and I'm just showing you here what I have. I put everything out on my desk so I can dive in and make these. These things right here I didn't really like. And then they provide envelopes for you. Those are the tabs. I'm using the designer paper on the cards instead of on the tabs, and then I put all of my embellishments there in that tin, and I just popped everything out and got it all ready. And then these circles I ended up not using, but you could use the back of those or you could use the front. So here we go, making the very first card, and I'm just pulling out some items here. I liked having everything in that tin because it made it so much easier for me to dig through and decide what I liked and what I didn't like or what I wanted to use. Those things I ended up not using, even though I had intentions to use them. I did really like that the kit came with craft envelopes and white envelopes. So the very first card that we do is this card base right here, and it's this white card base, and then it has this heart, and this card is the card that was meant to use with all of the different colors. I just didn't like all the different colors, so instead what I did is I took the designer paper from the tabs and I'm going to use that. And here I'm just taking and punching out the middle heart right here, and then I have a piece of scrap paper there that I'm going to put under it because I'm going to use my Wink of Stella pen with some ink, which is a wonderful way to use the Wink of Stella. You just take your ink pad, pinch it together to get some ink right there on the lid, and then you dip your Wink of Stella pen in that, and then you can do some coloring with it. So I really thought it would be fun if this little heart right here, if it had some color on it. So that's what I do. And you can pinch your Wink Stella pen to get a little bit more glitter or fluid there on the tip, and that's what I did. So then I just speed through here and I color this. I try to just stay right on the white paper and not get on the black scratch paper. I just didn't have anything else handy to stick right under there. And then I just try to make it as even as I can. If there's spots that I feel like are a little bit lighter or darker, I kind of try to go back and blend that together. And then just wipe your tip off on the paper, and it will stain your Wink Stella, but it's okay. And then I love this designer paper here. You get the several different designs, which is nice, and I just felt like I wanted to go ahead and use it on the card since I'm not using those dividers. So I just trim it down to 4 by 5 1/4, and that's going to allow me to layer that right in this card. And it makes it nice because this design is a really pretty design on the front of the card, but it's not something that I would probably ever attempt to do or try to figure out to do. So I feel like it's really different, and that's really nice. So I just used my ATG gun because it's a thinner, the line of adhesive is thinner than my snail, and so I used that, and then you just pop that designer paper right in the front there, and then that allows you to have the designer paper peeking out. And I really like that heart with that color right there. Instead of it just being white, that pop of color I feel like really makes it. Last week, I used the sentiment "You Rock" on one of my cards, and I really loved that, and I wanted more cards that said that. I would really like to send those to some team members. So right now, I'm just showing you that I'm lining my card up with my mat, and that way I can try to stamp a little bit straighter. That's how I stamp. That's how I attempt to stamp straight. It doesn't always happen, and even right there, I'm not exactly happy with exactly how it came out, but it does help you to be a little bit more precise when you're stamping. I know a few of you have recommended that I use the Stampin' Majig, but I just always forget to get it out. And even "You Rock" right there it's a little bit crooked, but it's handmade, so I think it's okay. I think it works. Then there's that little heart right there. And what I do is I push that little heart right down into my ink, and I got ink all over my finger, right? I mean, it always happens. I have ink everywhere when I'm doing this kind of stuff, but it ended up being really wet. So what I decided to do is go ahead and set that aside, and I just set it right off to the side of my mat, and then I go ahead and I jump into the very next card here. And this very next card is probably my favorite one that I did. I took that paper right there, and that was actually just a full card base. And oftentimes what I'll do to stretch my product is if a card comes and it's like this where it's the front and the back, I'll just trim it. And that's what I did. I always just trim it down. I take a 1/4 inch off, so I trim it to 5 1/4 by 4. And then there's these card bases, these plain white card bases that were in the kit. And so I just felt like, well, that'll make a perfect layer. And then I'll get more use out of it. I loved this little overlay, and I'm actually thinking about using a few pieces in my project life. And so I just trimmed it down to 4 so it would stretch right across that designer paper. And then I think I trimmed, yeah, see, I trimmed just a tiny bit more off. I think I end up trimming off like a 1/4 of an inch. I just wanted it a little bit tinier than what it was. And I want that to stretch all the way across my card. And then I have this lace doily that I'm going to grab, and I'm going to cut it in half. I think I'm reaching for it right now. There it is. So those are really inexpensive. They're in the annual catalog, and I just cut it in half, but I still wanted it a little bit smaller than what it was. So I folded it like that, and then I just used my scissors to trim it. And actually looking back, I think that I wish I would have left it longer because it ends up not peeking out as much as I would like it at the very end. But that's okay. It still is fine. I just wish I would have left it a little bit longer. And this design for this card actually came from, I was looking at the Global Design Project website today, and theirs is a card sketch. And this was kind of the card sketch that they had. It kind of kind of stuck with me, so I ended up doing that as a card design. I really love this satin ribbon. I don't use it nearly enough, and I thought it would be perfect for this card because I did want a pop of black, since right now I'm going to stamp the sentiment in black, and I've just been using Memento black. Whenever you see me stamping a sentiment with black, that's what I'm doing. And I love that sentiment right there. It's one of my favorites, and I just decided to put it in the corner. So that ribbon is going to kind of coordinate with that sentiment. And here you see, I go back and I grab that yellow heart because it's finally dried. So I go ahead and I grab it, and then I just cut a dimensional in half. And I'm going to stick that right on the card and then add a little bit of Wink of Stella to it to give some even, even a little bit more glitter to that. So I just real quickly, once I saw that was dry, I went ahead and popped that on the card. Then we'll just jump right back over to the blue card. And I just use snail to put all these pieces down. The little doily, be really careful not to rip that when you're putting your adhesive on. I use my grid mat to line it up. And then I just put snail adhesive right over that overlay because we're going to cover up that anyways. And so you can see that I just stick that right on there. And then I try to line it up. And I kind of realize it's not sticking down as much as I want it to, but I just kind of move on because I've already added adhesive, and those doilies are very thin and they tear very easy. So I'm just wrapping the ribbon around here. I'm not tying a bow with this ribbon or anything. I'm just adding 2 pieces of ribbon and then adding that right there. And I'm just showing you right there that it's not sticking down as much, the doily. So I'm using this foam because I really want to have this popping up off the card, and I want it to be sturdy. So I just add that, and then we're almost done. We're just going to add some glitter to this. So I take some glitter, gold glimmer paper, I punch out a star, and I add the star right to the ribbon. And then this is something that I just recently did. I took these little containers that we get embellishments in. I keep all those containers. And so what I did recently is I took my star border punch, and I showed that just a few seconds ago, and I punched out a bunch of stars and different glitter papers, and then I've been storing them like that. And then in this lid, I can just dump out what I want to use, and then I just use my X-Acto knife and I just push through the star and then place it on my card. I just use that liquid glue to put a few dots down, and then you can see I'm just kind of filling in where I want them. And I use my X-Acto knife to push through the star and then place it on my card. And then I use my nail to hold down the star while I lift up on my X-Acto knife. And that works well for me. I don't know, if you don't have long nails, it might not work. And that glue is so sticky, you guys. So right here, I had done another one where the doily kind of stayed down lower, and I liked that better. But, what can you do? So I decided to go ahead and move on to this next card. And you could see here that you could place this behind that little frame, or I just decided to use that Bermuda Bay striped piece because I just feel like it works better for me. I like it better, and so that's what I decided to use. And then I'm going to stamp this sentiment right onto this craft card. And I really like using craft cardstock, and I really feel like I need to use it more. I just don't ever think to use it. So really simple, I'm just adding the sentiment right to the front of this card, and then we're just going to do the same thing we did to the last card by just adding that panel right into this card. And you can see that that works really well right there. You just glue it right in and then flip it over, and this is what you have. Then we're going to do the very last part for this card, and I grab a piece of scratch paper, and then I grab the yellow butterfly, and I wanted it to be different than yellow. I didn't really like that yellow, so I grabbed a few coloring items here. I have my Memento black stamp pad, a Sharpie, and then I do have a black Copic. So I just start by using that Memento black ink to press it onto that piece, but I felt like it didn't get into all the little intricate pieces that came out. So that's when I used my Copic marker and I just kind of went over it again. Your hands get a little bit messy with this, but it ends up being okay. And I just went over it. I'm not a Copic expert by any means. I don't do a lot of coloring. I don't know if this is good for your Copic or not good for your Copic, or if you should or shouldn't. I just needed this to be black, and this is how I chose to do it. So then I took the Sharpie and I just went around the edges, and I just did it really, I mean, I was not being precise at all, you guys. I'm just being really messy, and it's just the idea of wanting it black. So I did that, and then I did go ahead and grab something to wipe my hands off because the black did get on there, and I didn't want a chance getting it on the card. So that's what I'm doing here. And I could have cut out the butterfly. I have the framelits to do that, but in the spirit of just using everything that was in the kit, I just thought this is another way that you can use those things that come in the kit if you don't happen to like the color they're in, or you want to alter them. You can do that. So then I used glue dots, and I just used 2 little glue dots, and I kind of folded them over in the middle so it would give it a little bit of dimension, but I just stuck it right in the middle of that butterfly, and I'm going to place it on the card kind of in that panel. And then I grabbed some rhinestones, and I needed about 8 of them. So I put those right there in the middle of the butterfly, and I didn't have any problem with them sticking to that butterfly, but if you did, you could just use a little bit of liquid glue. So those were all 3 of the cards that I did. They'll be on my website. I have a photo that you can go over and check out, and I hope you enjoyed seeing that. I also hope you enjoyed seeing the 10 of cards. I really enjoyed the kit and have a lot of items left over that I can still play with. I have 2 other videos here for you guys today. I have the birthday card I made for Kayla back in January, and I love the way that card came out. And then I have a Project Life video for you guys. This is the Project Life by Stampin' Up! Happy Times kit, and you can check that out. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll be back on Thursday to share again with you guys. Have a wonderful day, you guys.